One piece of advice you'd give to younger athletes?
hmm Honestly, I'd say like try and find the joy both inside and outside your sport. Because I played for a long time or a couple of years without joy, and that was probably the most miserable experience of my life. So just like finding the joy in your sport, and that'll really just carry you throughout the years too, because you don't want to do something that you don't love every day. And so I really like found the love in my sport, and I love doing it every day. It makes me want to do stuff outside of it to get better. So I'd say trying to be happy as much as you can and finding the love for your sport.
All right, here we go. We are live with the second episode of the My Player podcast, where we go beyond the highlights and into the stories of the athletes building their brands, futures, and themselves. And I'm your host today, Connor Shank, and with us is Saige Wimes. Thanks for joining us today, Saige.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, we're looking forward to diving into your journey, what led you to play college soccer, some background stuff, and really kind of build up your brand and community here. And so, for the listeners and viewers, Sage is a standout forward and midfielder for the University of Kansas women's soccer team. Originally from Kansas City, this past season, she led the KU team to a Big 12 championship this past season, starting in 23 matches, scoring 5 goals along with 7 assists. And so off the field, she is just as sharp, earning all academic Big 12 honors, and along with building her personal brand as a collegiate athlete. So, Sage, what do you say we just dive right into it and take us back to maybe some of your first memories while playing soccer and what drew you to playing soccer?
hmm Yeah, so my first memory, I'd say playing for my recreational like community team. So I played for Brookside Recreational Soccer Club, and that was just it was a fun time like playing with my friends, my neighbors. And so like starting out I was playing forward, and I've been playing forward since then. Yeah, it that was just my earliest memory of soccer. And what drew me to soccer was definitely seeing my older sister play. I have two older sisters. One of them played soccer growing up and then switched to volleyball. And so, like, seeing her do the sport made me want to get into it more. And I just love the competitiveness and just aggression of the sport. I always loved it.
Love it. And I feel like that's a common theme with siblings, right? Whatever your siblings doing, you just kind of fall in line, and then it's awesome to see that as you've had success on the field, on and off the field. What's been, maybe one of your favorite memories or moments, if you could pick one or two?
hmm I have to say winning the Big 12 championship this past year. In my soccer career, I've never like won like a huge championship. I feel like the closest I've came is getting third in state in high school. And so that was just like a big accomplishment for me and for my team and just a big title to earn. So I definitely say that's my favorite soccer memory.
That's a good one to have. Obviously, it's fun to see there. And then we were looking kind of in your freshman year all the way up to where you're at now, and it seemed like you've been wearing number 4 the entire time. Is there a special significance behind that number?
Yeah, so I actually, growing up, I was always number 10, and that was just because Messi wore number 10, and I wanted to be just like Messi. So I wore 10 like in club and rec, and then during high school is when I switched to number 4. My dad, he played football in high school and then football in college, and he was number 4. And so he was like, hey, like, you may want to switch to number 4, be more original, like, don't copy after someone else. So that's when I switched to number 4 in high school, and then I've been number 4 since then.
Okay, great, love it. Seems like the family ties run deep with your career
Yeah.
journey here.
Yes, they do for sure.
That's great. That's great. And kind of sticking with your career journey, when you came in as a freshman and to now your role now, how has it evolved, changed? What have did you expect your new role, or what's
Yeah.
that process been like?
Yeah, so coming in freshman year, I didn't really have any expectations. I honestly assumed like I'm not going to see the field, I'm not going to touch it just because you're a fresh like you really can't expect a lot. And so coming in, I was starting the first 5 games, which was crazy to me. I was like, I can't believe they're starting me over juniors and seniors. And then ended up losing my starting spot, and then I was subbing in for the rest of the season. And so, I mean, I had high hopes after that season, even though I went from being a starter to non starter. I wanted to come back my sophomore year and start. And then ended up taking a medical red shirt my sophomore year. I was dealing with some health issues, and so I was out all season. And then this past season was my first season back from that, my junior year. And so even coming into my junior season, I didn't have many expectations because I hadn't played in over a year.
Yeah.
And so coming in and being able to start all 23 games was awesome. I honestly could not ever seen that coming at the beginning of the season. And so I was just super grateful to be able to be in that position and just hoping to continue that forward in the next season too.
It's great. It's a great story of perseverance where you can kind of where you're at. Obviously, it's a wave, right? Being a college athlete, and you got to ride that wave. And speaking of kind of the college athlete, what it's like, talk to maybe potential college athletes that are want to play at the next level. What a summer looks like for a college athlete, and then in season, kind of some of the differences if there's any.
Yeah, so summer for me, every summer of my college season, I've always played on a summer team. And so that's unique to women's soccer, men's soccer. Like a lot of colleges don't let you play in outside competition during the summer, but soccer does. So this past year I played for Minnesota Aurora last summer, and then this summer I'm playing for Minnesota Aurora again. So they're a pre-professional league, and it's like other college players, other former professional players, current professional players that are in between contracts, and so the level is pretty high. And I think it helps to prepare me coming back into season, which is really nice. And so it's a good little like step in between, not like doing nothing, but also doing something all summer. And then during season is crazy busy. We practice like dang near every day. We have one off day during season. And then we're also in at least 12 credit hours. This upcoming fall, I'm going to be in 18, which is the most I've ever taken in the
Here we
fall.
go.
Yeah, because I'm graduating early, a semester early. So I'm going to be in 18, which is going to be a struggle. But I mean, it's really just a balance of trying to like manage your practice, games with homework. And I've been able to manage it pretty consistently throughout the years. This upcoming season will be a little bit hard, but it's definitely a challenge. And I think coming in freshman year was an adjustment just because I hadn't dealt with that much homework, schoolwork on top of managing like college soccer
Yeah.
ever. So it was an adjustment, but I think I've adjusted pretty well, and I'll definitely have to make an adjustment going into next season too.
Yeah, I'd say the adjustment's been made. I'm looking forward to kind of hearing how your journey goes this fall in season with your credits. So good luck there. You mentioned kind of how it's you're practicing every day. You have one off day. You're here, you're there. So when how does someone like you recharge or I guess if relax, right? If that's a
Yeah.
good word. How does someone do that as a college athlete?
Yeah, honestly for me, I'd say watching like reality TV, Netflix shows. I'm like a huge like reality TV girl, so I love like shows like Love Island, Bachelorette, like stuff that just it's just like stupid, so it gets my mind off of like
Takes it away.
stresses, yeah, of
Yeah.
homework of soccer. I also really like to read. I like romance books, so I read those from time to time when I have the time to do that. And then hanging out with friends, hanging out with my teammates. I love just like chilling with them, and that gets my mind off things as well. So I'd say probably those three things is what I do in my off time.
Yeah. Great things. And I feel like that's just as an important step, right, in an athlete's career is to kind of that relax, take your mind off it, kind of reset for a big game or even just for taking a test the next day, right? You got so much
Mhm.
going on.
Yeah,
Uh,
for sure.
and is so speaking of kind of I guess your fans and the community behind you, what's something your fans or friends, teammates, in fact, might not know?
I'd say I like to cook, and I don't think people know that I like to cook, but I really do. Like, I probably make a meal like 3 or 4 times a week. I'd rather like make a homemade meal than eat out. And so that's what like helps to like fuel me throughout the season and in the off season too. I think another thing also, a lot of people don't know I like to dance. Not like professional dance, but like TikTok dances, like I love to do. Some people probably do know that, but yeah, I said those are main two things.
Right, what's off the top of your head? Don't want to put you on the spot, but what's your favorite meal that you cook or you enjoy the most?
Yeah, I'd say I really like making spaghetti, and then black bean soup. That's like a family recipe that my family used to make all the time growing up, and so I love making black bean soup too.
Cool. Good for you. That's awesome. It's always fun to kind of have something right that you kind of keep and kind of work on and craft that's not
Yeah.
soccer related. Sometimes it helps,
For
right?
sure.
Kind of doing that. And then speaking of your journey and kind of your brand as you've been building it up with kind of NIL being kind of a mainstay in sports now. What kind of has been the role of you're creating a merchandise line with my player and some of your other kind of brand moves, you could say?
Yeah, I before my player athlete, I like hadn't really received that many brand deals, and so I feel like this was my like most like major brand deal, and so I think it's just such a crucial stepping stone for me and like starting my brand, and that starts with like merch and stuff like that. And also just like my players like worked with me really well in terms of trying to like grow my brand image, and so like two of those things is like my like passion for human rights and social justice and trying to collab with me on that, and then also like my faith is a big part of my journey both on and off the field, and they've helped me to try and incorporate that in my merch as well, and so it's just really significant in just representing who I am as a player and as a person, and I've been really grateful to be able to partner with my player.
Great, love to hear it. And then as far as when you see fans, family, etc., kind of wearing your merch, what does it feel like when you're on the field looking up and you see someone wearing your?
It's awesome. It's literally the most amazing feeling. My like as soon as I had the merch released, my family bought like 10, 15 different things. My dad bought a hat, shirt, sweatshirt, like everything. So just they come to pretty much every game. So seeing them with that on, just like it is honestly the greatest feeling. And just like seeing my face on someone else's shirt is like weird to me, but like now I'm like, oh, like I actually really like it, and it just makes me feel super supported.
Is there a favorite piece of merch that you like the most, or that maybe your dad or someone likes the best?
Yeah, I have to go with the crew neck, the gray crew neck that has the four in the big letters. I love that sweatshirt. I wear it almost like every night to go to sleep.
Awesome. Like when we release this, we'll make sure to link all those and help kind of promote that there. And then as far as we talked about your brand and you specifically kind of the things that are important to you. But as far as tips for other players, collegiate athletes, etc., kind of building their brand, do you have any tips or tricks that work for you?
I'd say align with companies that like represent your own interests and what you want to do with your brand. I think brand alignment is so important because if you're partnering with a brand that you don't believe in some of the things they push out or their plan or vision for you, then it's most likely not going to be a successful partnership. And so just like staying true to yourself and being authentic and finding brands that are also authentic and that are willing to match your vision and match your goals for yourself.
Great tips. Very important for that. And then we appreciate you coming on the show today, Sage. And we're gonna end it with some rapid fire questions so the
Dang,
your
awesome.
fans can get to know you a little better. So we'll start with this upcoming season. And I don't want to create a locker room drama for other teams,
Yeah.
but do you have a team you're looking forward to play the most, or maybe like a hostile environment that's like, oh, if we win there, like it'll feel good type of thing.
Yeah, definitely Utah State. They had a really good season last year, and I know like four of the people on the team. Two of them are currently on my summer team, so I'm excited to see them. And then two of them played on my summer team last season, so I have like a lot of connections with that team. So I'm excited to see them like on the field playing against them instead of with them.
Right, that'll be fun, kind of being teammates, and then obviously not teammates there in the fall. And then
Yeah, for
I,
sure.
I, I guess your this next question is your hidden talent off the field, but I think that'd be cooking, or are we gonna go a different
Cooking and
answer?
dancing,
Cooking and
for
dancing.
sure. Yes.
Perfect. And then before a game, what's your go-to pump up song or most played song?
Yeah, definitely Wipe Me Down. That was my like goal celebration song at KU. So whenever I score, that song would play, and that it just always gets me hyped before games.
Perfect. It's a good one. Would love to hear
Yeah.
that. And then you this last one, what's or I guess we have two more. Favorite athlete can be soccer or whatever related.
Timo Chawinga, she is literally amazing. She plays for KC Current. She's a forward on the team. She's super fast, and so she's so much fun to play. And she got MVP of the NWSL last year, so I've been following her ever since she came to the NWSL last year.
That's probably nice, hometown team, so you can
Yeah,
get to see her up close.
for sure.
That's awesome. And then what's one piece of advice you'd give to younger athletes?
hmm Honestly, I'd say like try and find the joy both inside and outside your sport. Because I played for a long time or a couple of years without joy, and that was probably the most miserable experience of my
Yeah.
life. So just like finding the joy in your sport, and that'll really just carry you throughout the years too, because you don't want to do something that you don't love every day. And so I really like found the love in my sport, and I love doing it every day. It makes me want to do stuff outside of it to get better. So I'd say trying to be happy as much as you can and finding the love for your sport.
Great advice, and not just for soccer, obviously for life too. Great way to close there. And then Sage, where can the fans and the community find your merch, your socials, etc.? Can I give you the floor to plug whatever you need?
Yes. My Instagram is at Saige Wimes, SAIGEWIMES. And then I have a link to my merch in my bio that you guys can click on.
Perfect. You heard it here first. Everyone head there and grab some merch before the season starts here in a few months. Do you guys kick off in August, September?
Yes. Yeah, we start
August.
preseason late July, start games in August.
Okay, great. Well, we'll have that rocking and rolling. And thanks again, Sage, for dropping by the My Player podcast. And we loved hearing about your story and kind of what it looks like to build a career in college soccer and something on and off the field. So make sure to go check out Sage's merch, her socials, give them a follow, and we're looking forward to turning moments into merch here in the next few episodes and throughout the rest of the year. So thanks again, Sage.
So thank you.